Let's talk about cultural appropriation, Emily. So a dance troupe for female pensioners has been forbidden from performing in sombreros and pharaoh costumes by Germany's National Garden Show after being accused of cultural insensitivity. Now, they're the AWO Ballet, performing since the 80s. They're a charity for the elderly and disabled to give women in their 60s, most of whom are widows, an outlet to socialise and dance. What is going on?
Listen, I worked in the fashion industry for many years. Cultural appropriation was definitely happening there. You had a completely white industry taking black culture and selling it for a lot of money, and they were the ones taking them.
But what is wrong with cultural...
There is a place for cultural appropriation. Not here. This is ridiculous. They thought a sombrero was going to be insulting in some way, worn in a show by some lovely old ladies.
And I never think the people who we presume from these stories are supposed to be offended would be remotely offended. I've been in Mexico many times. I've never seen anyone in Mexico be offended by tourists wearing sombreros. So, Kevin, why can't we rename it cultural celebration? Why does everything have to be immediately offensive?
Yeah, well, blackface is certainly offensive. Yeah. They're not doing that.
Yeah.
One time people used to...
But a sombrero on a widow dancing in a charity?
No, because they'll be allowed to wear ponchos. I mean, the only good thing is this festival's now moved them up on the main stage.
But where does this line get derived?
I think it's not bad to be aware and be respectful and question. But every now and again, if you're going to do that, just as you get ignorant people who trample all over others, you'll get people who are oversensitive and then make a mistake. And this just feels like a mistake.
The problem is, Emily, I just think this is creeping thing where once you give in to any of these things, it never stops. It never stops. Once you've established cultural appropriation, not a day goes by without somebody somewhere falling foul of culturally appropriating someone somewhere.
I literally don't think that they haven't looked up what cultural appropriation is and the roots of it. So I just think it's people sort of in a sort of panic. Oh my God, if we do this, we're going to get in lots and lots of trouble. They're not doing any research. They're not actually working out what is cultural appropriation, what isn't. Yeah. So it's just sort of got
why can't you celebrate other cultures?
Well, you can, but would you say it was okay to black up as a Jamaican?
I don't.
If you're white, would you? And then adopt an accent?
I certainly don't think that blackface is acceptable.
Yeah. So there is a limit. So you've agreed.
Of course. I'm not saying there's no limit.
Yeah.
But widows wearing a sombrero.
No, they've got it wrong here.
Is ridiculous.
You're right. You're right. The organisers got it wrong.
As I've said, I do think the white fashion industry definitely at times was stealing a black New York street culture, and they weren't seeing any of the money. And in some cases, one big fashion group actually had to pay a black street culture guy because they quite literally stole his designs without paying him.
Look,
that's wrong.
Yeah, there are limits.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone disputes that.
But a sombrero...
and also, I think intent is important. If you're intending to be offensive, right?
Yep.
So if you're deliberately culturally offensive to another culture, if you're mocking a culture, that's one thing. But if you're celebrating it, it's a totally different thing. And I think we've lost that ability to draw a line between celebration and inappropriate appropriation. Right, haven't we?
Can do sometimes, but I think it's not bad to be aware and challenge. And if a load of Mexicans turn up, or Japanese, or Egyptians turn up and they're offended, then I think they should be listened to and not laughed at. And I know it hasn't happened in this case.
But I subscribe to the Ricky Gervais thing, which is someone's always going to be offended somewhere about something.
Why are you going to be offended anyway if you're a Mexican and there's some nice old ladies wearing some sombreros?
I don't think you would be. I agree.
Everyone's sombreros when we go to Mexico.
I'm Irish. On St Patrick's Day, when everyone dresses up in green as leprechauns and stuff, I don't run around saying I'm offended. I say, where's my Guinness?
No, I don't mind if somebody dresses up as Tower Bridge or whatever and mocks us as British or Beefeater. They can do what they like.
I don't understand why you would be offended.
But I can sometimes see people who've had a lot of abuse then will feel...
There's a line, but it's as with all woke things, it's just gone ridiculous.